Welcome to episode 149 of Outside the Circle, a podcast dedicated to new and upcoming country artists, musicians, and songwriters. Today's guest will be Hayden Haddock. We'll get to him in a little bit, but first, I'm Ronnie, and here's Brian.
Yeah, what's happening, man? We're in it. We're approaching 150, which is a wild landmark or time mark, however you want to state it as. And I'm excited for it, man. I think that 150 is going to be a great episode. But we're in 149 with Hayden. I think this is also just my kind of country music, so I think people are gonna love it.
Yeah, I mean, we're talking Dallas, Fort Worth, born and bred Texas country. You definitely can't get more up your alley. So, yeah, it was a good chat with him, and I think a lot of people we talk to a lot of people about how like music was kind of always their thing, and while that is sort of the case here with Hayden, but we'll talk in the interview here about music was not important to the family, and it was all sports all day long, and I'm kind of glad Hayden found his voice, and it led him to us getting the chat. So yeah, no, I hope everyone enjoys this one.
Yeah, I know. I'm excited for it, and I mean, I really don't have much to touch on other than that. Um, it is approaching October, which, like I said last episode, um, is my favorite time to be in the woods. So I'm excited for that to finally kick off and the weather to cool off because it's 85 degrees today in Jersey in the end of September. So it's getting kind of old.
Yeah, this I'm ready for like 70, 65, 55 in that range where this 85 in September 29th is not okay.
Yeah, no, I did a youth mentor hunt over the weekend and sitting in a ground blind in like a t-shirt. I was like, this does not feel like hunting to me, man. And like it's kind of funny because like down south, that just is what you wear. You wear but up here in the north, us whitetail hunters like the 30-degree days and stuff like that. So
Well, and so kind of for the non-hunters of this environment, which I'm probably one of the few in our listening circle, but um, does that have an effect on what you see out there this time of year?
I mean, not really. I mean, the deer are out there all the time, right? I personally just don't like to handle the animal when it's 80 something degrees out. I'd rather it be cold and then yeah, I mean they have their own environment around the November time is when they really start acting crazy. So that's a little bit different than now. So that's really the only thing, but it's personal preference, man. I'd rather be sitting in, 45, 30-degree weather. So
Yeah. Well, I'd rather be inside in air conditioning than sitting in a tree. So that's my personal preference. I'll play the deer hunter in the back of the bar with the putting some quarters in.
right, right.
Yeah. All right, cool. So yeah, let's jump into this interview with Hayden, and then yeah, we'll keep rolling here. All right, everyone. We're here today with singer-songwriter Hayden Haddock. Welcome to Outside the Circle, Hayden. Thanks for joining
Yeah.
us today.
Thank you very much for having me on. I appreciate it.
Yeah, we're excited to chat with you. It's been a busy few months here for you, so we'll definitely jump into all that. But before we get into that, we always like to start from the beginning, kind of give us a little bit about where you grew up and how important music was in your household, kind of things like that.
Yeah. So I grew up in the Dallas Fort Worth area, kind of Garland, Plano area. And so, yeah, I grew up kind of, very normal childhood, grew up playing sports. And I guess, something a little bit different about me and kind of what you just said is music was not really anything, important in my family other than, of course, we all, love to listen to music and all that. But in terms of musicianship and all that stuff, nobody in my family really, did any of that stuff. I think my grandfather played the trumpet in a band when he was in college to help pay college bills. And if you listen to my 83-year-old grandmother, she swears that she used to sing on the radio. We have not fact checked this, but she swears she did. But yeah, I grew up really a big sports family. So football and baseball was kind of everything. And then finally, for a few years in a row, my dad for Christmas was getting me and my brothers and everybody tickets to the Kenny Chesney concert. Every time he'd come to town and play at AT&T Stadium, my dad was a huge Kenny Chesney fan. And so I can't remember which year it was, but I remember I was 14 years old, and we went, and Eric Church opened for Kenny, was direct support, and that was kind of Eric's like the real chief days, I like to call them. And I remember I left there, and of course Kenny was great, but I left there, and there was something about watching Eric's set that I told my parents I wanted to take guitar lessons. And anyways, my dad, he said, "Well, I'm not buying you one because I know you're going to do this for about a week and then never touch it again." And all that stuff. So he did end up talking him into buying me a cheap little Yamaha. I think it was a $150 Yamaha guitar, and took a few months of lessons, kind of picked up on it pretty quick. And that was kind of it for that. I'm really a shy kid at heart. And so up until my freshman year of college, so about 18, 19 years old, whatever it was, I wouldn't play in front of anybody. Definitely wasn't singing, but wouldn't even play the guitar in front of anybody. I would just wait late at night, play in my room or whatever. And then, like I said, got to Texas A&M my freshman year, and my roommate thought it was going to be funny to embarrass me. And this girl I was dating at the time, he told her I could sing her a song and I could sing real well. And so I did it kind of against my will. And then he recorded it without me kind of knowing and sent it along to my friends and family and Snapchat or whatever it was at the time. And everyone was like, "Man, you're not half bad." And so a few months later, I played my very first little acoustic show, and been rolling ever since. And here we are.
Yeah, I think as a first time performer, the "you're not half bad" is probably the best compliment you could ever get.
Yeah, yeah. And trust me, luckily I do not have that video he took on my phone anymore. But my mom had it for the longest time, and she would, every now and then randomly play it. And yeah, I don't know how people were telling me that because it sounded pretty dang bad to me, but but it's all right. So I like to think I've gotten a lot better.
Those are I fondly remember, I'm a singer and guitar player also, and the times of like getting into a song and be like, oh, wait a minute, I gotta, how do you, that one?
Yeah,
That like, it like yeah, those were fun. And then you always get like the sweet old ladies in the back. That was so nice. That was
yep, yeah,
all right.
Yeah.
yeah, definitely. And still to this day, I do not enjoy listening to myself or hearing myself. I don't even like hearing myself talk, let alone sing. But I guess that's just the old "you're your own worst critic" type of thing.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I feel that way about the podcast. I can't, I
Right,
listen back, but it makes me cringe a lot. But yeah, no, that's yeah, kind of I resonate a lot with the shy side of things. And weirdly, I feel like I'm a little bit on the other side of that, where like you put me in a crowd and I have no problem like talking to people, but then like doing something is a completely different story. I could talk to
right.
you all day long, but the minute you ask me to do something and you're staring at me, not gonna happen.
Yeah, I guess that was probably, I mean, that was a weird thing about me was that, like I said, yeah, growing up from a very young age and all through, elementary, middle school, just being younger, I was always, yeah, kind of known as the shy kid. My family knew me as the shy kid, didn't talk much, wasn't super like outgoing. And so anyways, none of my family could believe when they of course they all came to my first little acoustic show, and they could not believe that I got up on the stage and was willing to have, yeah, people look at me. And but that was a crazy thing though, is when I did play that first show, like you'd think I would have been incredibly nervous before getting on a stage for the first time, but I remember like I really wasn't. I mean, of course there was a little bit of nerves, but not like what you would expect. So I always said maybe that was a sign this is what I'm supposed to be doing.
No, that's great. I mean, and to take it back, I'm a diehard. I mean, I think Ronnie and I both are just huge Eric Church fans. Anytime that he ever came into town, it was, we would go to. I remember when Starland had him, and it was like the first time Starland. It's our local little rev venue here, but the first time that they sold out a country show was Eric Church, and
Really?
Yeah, I mean, I've always been a huge fan, but what was the song or whatever that you that made you buy that guitar and learn?
Man, that's a good question. I remember from the live set and like the one of those songs my dad would always play is "Creepin'." I think that was off the Chief record. But then of course, I mean, "Guys Like Me," I think that was off his first
Yeah.
thing he ever put out. That was a great song. But yeah, I mean, there's a bunch of them. Then even once he came out with "The Outsider," I know that was after this, but I don't know, like you, kind of like you. Yeah, I've always been a pretty big Eric Church fan.
Yeah, it's so funny too. I had just recently like just went back and just went on like a long Eric Church
Yeah,
like all last week. That's all I listened to was Eric Church. Like and went into like some of his older stuff. And yeah, you forget like they were some really great songs and like some
yeah, yeah. "Sinners Like Me" is another good one. And the what's the "Love Sleeping In on Saturday"? What is the title of that song? But that song, obviously, a big hit.
guys like me.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
Carolina. That was another great one. Yeah.
yeah, that
But yeah,
Yeah.
man, I was like, and you know what's so good too about those early ones is like, and not take anything away from like, because The Outsiders is also really good. Um, his earlier stuff was so raw, and it was like that's where you like learned Eric Church was a songwriter. You're like, he
right.
songwriter, like he is so good, man.
Yeah, no, I'd love to meet him too. I've heard just stories from people that he's just a great dude. I was listening to Jelly Roll, I think it was on a podcast earlier, and he said that Eric's been really big in mentoring him and just giving him advice on stuff. But anyways, I've heard that from numerous guys, so he's definitely someone I'd like to shake his hand at some point.
Yeah. So pre-Eric Church, Eric Church aside, kind of growing up, not really having that, like you said, nobody was really musical in the family. Nobody was really pushing you to go that route.
Right,
Kind of what was some of the stuff that you were listening to growing up, like leading up to that moment? Was it always like country? Was it always like
right.
in that realm of things? What was kind of playing in the background?
Yeah, we really, from what I remember, kind of growing up, because I can barely remember what I ate for breakfast yesterday. So what I can remember, no, my mainly, my dad, my brothers, like they really listened to everything under the sun. My dad was a big Rush fan. I remember sometimes there'd be Creed playing in the car, but then other times it'd be Randy Travis. My dad was a big Randy Travis fan. Lots of Tracy Lawrence. Stuff like that. And of course, my brother, yeah, same thing. Growing up, being a little bit older than me, he everything from rap to then he'd go on a country phase and all kinds of stuff. My mom always, she really would listen to quite a bit of country. She liked a lot of the female country singers. Um, but yeah, I guess like kind of on the countryside and obviously kind of where my inspiration for my stuff comes from is definitely that kind of 90s sound. Obviously my stuff with a little bit of a modern twist, whatever you want to say, but that's if you come to one of our live shows, all of our covers are usually 90s stuff. We have a whole 90s medley we do. So that's really something I guess that stuck with me and resonated with me is yeah, Tracy Lawrence, Clint Black, obviously George Strait, Garth Brooks. I mean that kind of whole realm, and still to this day is my favorite era of country music. If you get in my truck, there is a 99% chance it's going to be some kind of 90s country playing.
Yeah, no, that's yeah, I feel like so we're based out of New Jersey. Well, Brian's from upstate New York, but I'm New Jersey born and raised, and I feel like the 90s country world really hit this area like in the 2000s. So I feel
Okay,
like if it wasn't I think if the 2000s country came to New Jersey in 2000s, it probably wouldn't have taken off as much as it has here. Pre that, there was no country music here. Nobody cared. It was
right,
all Bruce Springsteen and Bon Jovi and all
yeah,
that. But yeah, if it wasn't for Garth and Brooks and Dunn and Toby Keith and all the Alan Jacksons, like all that, like it I feel like country in New Jersey is only because of 90s country. It definitely
right.
wouldn't have survived if any other era came here first.
Right, I got you. That's interesting. Yeah, I've never even been up that way, to be honest with you. We were just me and my wife were talking about taking a trip to New York because she's been, but I never have. But might just have to wait, yeah, till maybe I can get a show up there. So that way I've definitely got an excuse to make it up there.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Um, so kind of in that realm of like New York versus, you say you're from like the Dallas Fort Worth area. Um, I'm sure, especially, in the late teens when you really started getting out and playing in the college time frame and all that. I'm sure that area is thriving in the live music venue. And yeah, how's like that scene been for you,
Yeah,
kind of
no,
being around there?
yeah, it's been great since I started. And, like I kind of said earlier, when I first started, I took about the first year. I think how a lot of people do is just kind of going around playing just acoustic, me and the guitar, doing the 3 and 4 hour, cover sets because at that time you don't have any original songs, or you start playing them, once you get them one at a time. But anyway, so I did that for about a year. So that was kind of a mix of going around playing barbecue joints, playing restaurants, venue here and there. Um, but then after that, once we put the band together, yeah, we definitely kind of started and stayed around this DFW area. Again, just being that I was from here, and me being in Texas A&M, it was only a 3 hour drive to get back this way. And my dad was helping out with a lot of stuff at the beginning. He was basically managing me. He was managing me, sound guy, kind of everything under the sun. And so he obviously still lived up this way. So we'd drive back, but yeah, everybody's always been, very supportive around here. Whether it's I've had at this point old teachers from elementary school, middle school, high school come out, old football coaches come out, parents of friends growing up. Um, and then obviously we get, new faces coming to shows. But yeah, still to this day, Dallas is definitely one of our strong markets. So it's been great. And like you said, yeah, there's a ton of venues and little honky tonks and stuff like that. There's been a couple of them that we really like that have gone away over the years, kind of after the COVID thing, sadly. Um, but some of them are still going strong and treat us well, and we enjoy playing the area.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about this a handful of times, right? Like how Texas itself has its own, the red dirt circuit.
Oh yeah.
Like, they are their own. It can be their own, touring thing. You don't ever have to leave Texas for if
Oh
you or whatever.
no. Yeah. There's guys that don't leave Texas that are, making $1 million a year. I mean, because there's so many. Well, obviously Texas is so big, and then there's usually numerous venues in every city, not even just the big ones. I mean, we were in Victoria, Texas, a smaller town in South Texas, just this past week, and even they, I think, have two or three venues that people go in there and play at. So just as an example, but yeah, you can. It is definitely its own world. I've had this conversation a few times lately with various people, not from here, and it's hard to explain until you come kind of see it yourself or whatever. But yeah, it is for sure its own little music hub.
Yeah. So you kind of gave us a little bit of timeline there of being about 14 or so with seeing Eric Church and Kenny Chesney and that light bulb kind of going off that that's what you want to do and learning the guitar and eventually playing and singing and fast forward to college and getting in bands and all that. Kind of along that process, you're still young enough that life can go any which way. And was it a hobby? Was it going to be the career? Was it
Right.
having so much going on at such a young age that you never knew where it could have went? But do you have like that moment where maybe it's playing hometown and seeing how good the reception is to it? And do you have that like aha moment where you're like, oh yeah, like this is what I'm meant to do, this is what I'm supposed to do, and there's no other option?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if I can say there's been like a singular moment, but definitely towards the beginning. I mean, it was really tough when I first kind of got started, because again, did just get down to college, and like I said, nobody else in my family has tried to do anything remotely close to this. Everybody got their degree or whatever and went to work and has worked for corporate America or whatever you want to say. So me kind of taking a left turn. But it ended up being all right. Basically, my whole family's thing was like, "Hey, look, we'll support you in doing this music thing 100%. You just have to finish college and get your degree. That's all we ask." And so, of course, there'd be a handful of times I'd kind of argue it, and because it was, I mean, it was tough juggling obviously schoolwork and then trying to leave and not get attendance penalties from class, having to leave to go to shows and all that stuff. So anyways, but now looking back, I'm happy that I stuck it out and finished up. Still haven't used the degree, but I'm glad I got it. But anyway, so no, I don't think there's been really like an aha moment, because obviously I know I've still got a long, long way to go before I can ever say like I made it or whatever. But I think just going out and things have grown significantly over the year, and it seems every year, streaming numbers are better, attendance is better, ticket sales, merch sales are better, so everything seems to be going on the right path. So I guess I would just kind of say that um it'd be one thing it's not working to be like, okay, maybe it's not what I'm supposed to be doing, but since it is, that's where I think, okay, as long as we keep pushing, kind of pedal to the metal, hopefully it'll all pan out.
So what was that degree in? Is it something that you can use in the music world, or?
Construction science, so I don't think so. No, it's a construction degree. Yeah, my whole family's in basically in construction. And so that was kind of the easy choice. Because yeah, once I got to A&M and kind of starting the music thing, yeah, that just seemed like a good option, a good plan B if I ever needed it. So, but yeah, obviously the goal is to never use it.
Yeah. Well, I think 90% of the world doesn't actually use what they got their
Well,
degrees in, but that's
yeah,
a different
exactly.
topic for a different time.
Yeah.
But um, all right, so here you are, you're making music, you're writing music. Kind of let's jump into that side of it, the songwriting side of it and all that. So, kind of take us through that process. What does songwriting look like to you? And, kind of, just kind of, go in that
Yeah.
direction.
No, for me, songwriting has probably been the toughest thing for me since starting. Just because, yeah, again, I mean, even from the time I was 14 all the way up to freshman year of college when I did start, singing or whatever you want to say, I still like I never tried to write a song. Anything. I just again, I would sit in my bedroom and learn John Party songs or Cody Johnson songs or Tracy Lawrence songs, and I just thought it was cool trying to, sing that and learn those. So then once I did decide it was something I kind of wanted to pursue, then yeah, people were like, well, you need songs, and so you probably need to start figuring out how to write them. And so I definitely wrote some terrible songs at the beginning, I think, as everybody does. And then I kind of quickly found out once I started working with um, some people, some a booking agent, and then later on my first like little publisher that we had, and basically people hooking me up with other songwriters, even from the DFW area. So I'd get to sit down with them, and that was really my first experience writing. But I quickly learned that I definitely prefer the kind of the co-write thing. Um, I just think I don't know. To me, it's a lot better because you can sit down and have ideas and stuff, and you can kind of toss them around. And well, if you're stumped, obviously you got somebody to help you. Or B, what's happened a lot of the times is you throw out an idea, and to you it may mean one thing, but then that other person or the two other people, whatever it is, they take it a whole different way, and it takes that song to a whole nother level, for the better a lot of the time. So I've always liked that. So to this day, I like to do a lot of co-writes. So anytime I go to Nashville, we always get in a room with a couple people and do all that stuff. But yeah, I don't know. I'm also not one of those guys. Like I don't have to write on everything I record. I know there's some people that are diehard about that, and a lot of Texas guys, especially. But from the very beginning, and working with Trent Willman, who has produced all my stuff, and obviously a great songwriter as well. He's like, man, he, he's like, if I have any advice, don't have that mentality that you got to write everything. He's like, just best song wins. And so ever since then, obviously it's cool, right? Saying you wrote this song or that song or whatever. But to this day, I mean, if we're picking 3 songs out of 10, and if it just so happens that I didn't write on any of them, that's fine. But So yeah, I always just say best song wins.
No, man, I think that is the best mentality, and I actually it's the first time we've heard that here too. Um, I agree. You know, the songwriting, the co-writing, I think is one of the best ways to do it. You know, obviously there are solo writers that are just absolute rock stars and genius.
Oh yeah.
Uh, you know, those outliers always will live, but I think a co-write is the best way to create the best song or the best product. And then from the performer side, man, you're right. I mean, if you're offered a song that you didn't write, but it's a gem, like how do
Oh
you
yeah.
like you can't pass it up. It's like just get it done, you know?
Yeah, well, and I mean, there's again talking Trent, me and Trent talking again. He's like, man, you also got to remember there's people, you know, and he was talking about Nashville specifically, but like there's people that is their only job is to sit down and songwrite. They're not performers. They're not going out and play at shows. He's like, so when they're writing, you know, however many songs it is a year, hundreds or thousands or whatever it may be, but he's just saying sometimes, yeah, they come up with a pretty good song and they need people to record it because they're not going to do it. And so that's his other thing also, you know, from the songwriter's perspective is um if us as artists quit recording outside songs, that would very quickly make a lot of people not have jobs anymore. So, you know,
I mean, and that was like the whole basis of Nashville,
yeah,
right? You had the best songwriters, you had the best singers, and they would come together and create the best product, you know? That's what Nashville
right.
was. The singer-songwriter thing was never supposed to be a big thing. You know, it was like a share the wealth type of thing, you know?
Yeah, yeah, exactly. No, I think, yeah, I really haven't had a problem with it from the beginning. I probably my whole catalog. I think we've done a pretty good job. I think it probably I've never actually gone and tallied it all up, but I think it's about 50 stuff I've written on versus outside stuff. So I'm happy with that. I mean, I've even heard who was it? Neil McCoy, and then there was one other dude, but I know we were I think we opened for Neil and he went in this whole speech on stage talking about he's only written like one or two songs. And, you know, don't quote me on this, but it was something like one or two songs, like all of his hits are outside cuts,
Yeah.
you know, and he's like, yeah, just talking about there's nothing wrong with it. So,
I mean, George Strait, forgive me if I'm wrong, but
well, yeah,
he didn't write any of his songs. I mean, and then you had Garth Brooks. Like Garth Brooks isn't Garth Brooks without Friends in Low Places, The Dance, Thunder Rolls.
yep,
None of those songs.
yep, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you talk about sharing the wealth too, and you mentioned going to being in Nashville, right, writing with some co-writers there. But I'm sure in the Dallas Fort Worth area, I'm sure there's no shortage of talent that's able to get together and get in a room and like you said, create the best product that needs to be created.
Yeah, no, there's definitely people in this area. I need to do better at reaching out and getting together with them. But we actually, we're just kind of now getting back and settled here in this area. Because again, yeah, I was in college for it took me 5 years, and then we moved straight to Nashville. Me and my now wife. So we lived there for a year. So I was writing a lot when we lived there, doing all that whole scene, playing all the writers rounds and all that stuff. So we had a good time, and then we moved back, I guess a little less than a year ago. So also still trying to figure out who all lives in the area, but I know there's a few like Win Williams, I think lives over in Fort Worth, and there's some other people that have texted me about getting together. It's also just about making everybody's schedules get lined up. So
Yeah, it's definitely the hardest part when you're putting not even just one when you're putting a couple people together. That alone is a pain. But
yeah.
um, yeah, I'm jealous of your 5 years. It took me 8 to finish college, so so
Hey,
you're on a good track there.
hey, no judgment here, no judgment.
Yeah. All right. So, we're obviously talking about your music and all that good stuff. So I think this might be a good time to take our break, put on the song we're going to play for you, and then, come back and talk about it afterwards. So, why don't you go ahead and introduce it for us and we'll throw it on.
Heck yeah. Well, this is our latest single right here. I wrote this song with my buddy and also the same guy who produced it, Mr. Trent Willman. It's called Keep Me Up. I hope you enjoy it.
That cold wind outside my window sounds like whispers in the dark, and I keep reaching for that pillow, trying to hold you in my arms. Swear you're taking the shape of every shade and shadow in this room, and it's like every breath I breathe is filled with your perfume. 'Cause you're keeping me up all night, even when you're not around. I can't keep from seeing your eyes every time the sun goes down. Well, baby, I can't lie, I lie awake and burn to feel your touch. So come on over if you're gonna keep me up. I assume nobody's with you since you're picking up your phone, and that tremble in your voice says you don't wanna be alone. So baby, I guess you might as well head those headlights over here, since you're already here. Because you're keeping me up all night, even when you're not around. I can't keep from seeing your eyes every time the sun goes down. Well, baby, I can't lie, I lie awake and burn to feel your touch. So come on over if you're gonna keep me up. You're keeping me up all night, running reckless through my mind, and I can't untaste that Cabernet kiss, no matter what I try. Well, baby, I can't lie, I lie awake and burn to feel your touch. So come on over if you're gonna keep me up. Just keep me up. Keep me up.
All right, so let's talk about Keep Me Up. So, kind of take us through the inspiration behind that song, getting it written, getting it recorded, and essentially putting it out
Yeah.
as your newest single.
Yeah, so "Keep Me Up," it's a song we've been waiting a long time, just to get it out, kind of just trying to make sure it was as best as it could be. But yeah, like I said, me and Trent Willman, a guy who, he produces all Cody Johnson stuff. I think he's doing Midland's new stuff now, but also just a great artist himself. He was, I think, active mostly back in the early 2000s, if I'm not mistaken. But anyways, he had some hit songs and all that stuff, and I was very fortunate that my publicist, back shoot, around the time when I first got started, she somehow reached out to Trent, got an email or something for him, and basically asked about us sitting down to write a song. And he said, yeah. And so I flew to Nashville. Um, and of course, I knew exactly who Trent was, being a growing up a big Cody Johnson fan, and had heard his name thrown around numerous times from Cody and all that stuff. So I was kind of starstruck going in there, and obviously a little nervous. That was the first time I wrote with somebody like that. So we ended up writing a song off I guess, my first album that I did, called "Where You Come In," and then um, after that, he was like, "Man, well, who's producing this next, album?" I said, I have no clue." And so after that, he kind of took me under his wing. And anyways, fast forward to 2021, so probably a year later, I think we had gotten out of the studio, or I can't remember what we were doing. Maybe I was just in town, but we weren't even supposed to be writing. I remember we were sitting at his house, I think drinking whiskey, just kind of shooting the shit. I don't know if I'm allowed to say that on here. Sorry. But,
Go ahead.
um, and I remember he grabbed his guitar, and I think he kind of had the idea for it. And man, we ended up writing that song in, I mean, maybe 30 minutes, 45 minutes tops. I mean, it just kind of came out. Um, and after we wrote it, Trent just kind of like, yeah, I think that might, like, that's a good one, but that might be the one. And so pretty much that, like I said, that was in 2021, and we're just now releasing it. I think I've re-recorded vocals on it like 3 times. I took voice lessons like specifically to sing that song better, like all kinds of stuff, just because we really believe in it, and we're just, like I said, wanted it to be the best that it could be. And so yeah, so now we're proud of it, and we're glad it's out in the world.
Nah, I love the song, and you know, when I first dove into your stuff, you know, I kind of started with the earlier sound that you had going on, and you definitely hear the Texas '90s influence. And then once I got to this one, I was like, wow, this like if like this is gonna sound shitty, but like it sounds really pro. Like this is really good.
Well,
And
thank you.
yeah, and you know, now that you say that you took all the vocal lessons and stuff like that, it makes you know, you definitely hear it. But the oh man, the guitar tone is killer. The solo, the outro, all that stuff comes together. And man, what a great melody too. It's like it's easy to lock into. The minute I heard it, I was like,
Yeah.
yeah, this is it. This is good, man.
Yeah, we've always felt good about it. Like I said, even from just writing it, and when it was just Trent doing a little rough tape, just him and the guitar. We really felt like we had something, like I said. And so yeah, we're happy it's out now, and it's been doing good. So we're just hoping everybody else is enjoying it.
Yeah, I do want to kind of piggyback what Brian was saying about the listening to this song, you could hear what's the right word? You could hear the um like this is how, like, you could hear the work put in. You could hear that, like this is the way this song was meant to be, and like you guys really honed in on what this is supposed to be. And I think you think about songwriters and songwriting, and like you were saying, people playing on other people's songs, and
Right.
like hearing this song, like there's no doubt that like this is you, right? Like I think it was the perfect, like was Brian saying, you start with the earlier stuff, you kind of keep coming up, and then all of a sudden you're like, oh yeah, this is who Hayden is. Okay, I get it. So yeah, I dig this song big time because of that, because it really tells me who you are as an artist. So yeah, I love it.
Well, thank you. Yeah, good. I'm glad it paid off, because the vocal lessons weren't cheap, and the band that played on that sucker wasn't cheap. So I'm glad it sounds good.
Yeah. But you mentioned I thought I just lost my train of thought. Totally lost my train of thought there. But anyway, so that's it. So it's been out for a little bit now, probably about a month or so, maybe a little more than a month.
Yeah, something like
Kind of
that.
how is that response been to the release so far, and how are people liking it?
Yeah, no, it's been doing great for us. It playlisted pretty well across the board on everything. We did, I guess now about 2 or 3 weeks ago, we decided to send it out to Texas radio, just kind of see what that does, and that's already going well. I think that first week it was the most added song in Texas and beat out some pretty big songs. So I just thought that was cool. Not that I want to, not that I'm all worried about beating everybody, but I thought it was cool, especially like we've been talking about how hard we worked on that song. And so it's still going up those charts pretty quick. So we're hoping to get that. If this song were to go number one, which hopefully it does, it'd be my second number one song, and my only one that I've written on. So that would be a cool thing too. So anyways, though, all in all, can't complain. Goes well at the live shows, and yeah, so I think people are digging it. So we're just trying to continue to get the word out, and make sure everybody keeps streaming it, or people who didn't know it came out, they go listen to it and hopefully make some new fans.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And you kind of took the words right out of my mouth on my next question here. So, the Texas country music charts, you have already a number one with your previous single, Front
Right.
Porch in the Rain. Um, not to, like you said, you don't want to gloat or beat anyone out or anything like that, but I'm sure that was a pretty awesome experience, kind of receiving that honor of obviously, like you said, there's some pretty big names that you see on
Yeah.
those charts, and so that's got to be a pretty cool feeling, especially with this one now coming up in its ranks. So,
Yeah. 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 No, that Front Porch of the Rain going number one. That was really cool. And I even say this at our shows, like when we before we kick into it live, is it was kind of a long time coming getting that number one spot, because and I say it only took 7 years or whatever it's been now, because really from not anything off my first little EP, but that first album, Red Dirt Texas, that Trent produced. um Man, we sent, and don't catch me lying, but I want to say it was like 5 out of 10 or 6 out of 10 of those songs out to radio. And then even some of those other singles that we've put out since then, I can't remember exactly which ones, but we put quite all, if not all of them, quite a few of them out to radio. And I would, I'd have no problem cracking like top 20 or top 15, stuff like that. And then I think finally with my song "He Sings for Mary," that was before Front Porch on the Rain. That topped out at number 7. And I was like, okay, maybe I need to quit releasing. That was like the first, I'm pretty sure, like the first love song we ever decided to release out to radio. And I was like, that might be the issue. I keep releasing these, kind of beer drinking type songs. And so then we did Front Porch of the Rain. And yeah, luckily that went number one, and people obviously seem to like it. So yeah, it's just a cool feather in your cap. And like I said, had been promoting so many singles, to finally get that spot was very cool. So we're proud of it. And like I said, hopefully this one will be the first one that I wrote on. So at least, I can say that too.
I mean, we're gonna play "Front Porch in the Rain" at the end of the episode for everybody. But man, yeah, what another cool song, and another like good like classic traditional sound too. Love the fiddle work on that one too.
Yeah, that song turned out great. It was actually, I didn't write on that one. And But the demo to that song, it was a lot of keys, like way more keys than what's in the our version. And so we changed it up quite a bit, because I remember telling Trent, I'm like, the demo is too Jason Mrazzi. Sounds like something Jason Mraz would sing, which nothing wrong with him, but I'm just saying it wasn't really fitting. So, but yeah, that song turned out pretty cool. The production, everything turned out great on it.
yeah. Well, you made all the right choices because hitting that number one spot really, yeah, you made all the right choices. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Um, so I kind of want to dive into something you said, because I don't think we've ever actually really talked about it on here. Every so often we get an answer that maybe our everyday non-musician listener wouldn't really know the process on. You mentioned sending songs out to radio and all that promotion, and especially in a market so big like the Texas music scene.
Right.
Kind of what does that radio promotion look like, and what's that path like for you?
Yeah. Man, I guess first and foremost, you need a radio promoter. There's all, or yeah, I mean, I guess you need one. I've always used one. I suppose you could try to do it on your own. I don't know how well that would work or not. I don't think I've heard of anyone doing that. But so I'd say first step, you get a radio promoter. I've only ever used two, and my current guy, he's been great. His name's Dylan Steen, with Steen Promotions. And anyway, so you get him, and they, over the years and years of being in the radio business. I'm certain with him, it's been a lot longer than I've been in the business. So he's, made all these relationships and stuff. And so they just kind of call around and do their thing and work their relationships. But a big part of it is, you kind of got to do your part too. So it's doing, with radio, it's a lot of phone in, call in interviews, on their show, on their morning shows or whatever. Um, and then back in the early days when you're really trying to make relationships, like me and Trent, actually, we went on like a week-long radio tour all around Texas. We just rented a little car and zoomed around, both brought our guitars, and and we were hitting 3, I think sometimes 4 radio stations a day. um I mean, obviously, like I said earlier, Texas is huge, and we were trying to hit like all the main markets, so it's a lot of driving, but it was also a lot of fun. But yeah, that's the main thing, is just kind of, and I mean this in a good way, but working those relationships, and show the radio station you're willing to, yeah, call in and talk to them on their show. That makes their morning or their day or whatever it may be. So that's the big part of it.
Yeah, no, that's I guess now with how we're like being on Zoom doing this, or
Right.
I guess now it might look a little different, but um, yeah, the getting in a car and driving from city to city, and you're not even, I mean, ideally, if you had the means and the ability to, you'd be playing shows along the way too.
Yeah.
But typically when you're on those types of things, you're really just focused on those radios and
Yeah.
or those radio stations, and um, yeah, it's so wild to think that like in today's era of social media and how quick everything is to you write a song, record it, release it all virtually, but there's still such a huge radio market that I don't know, maybe I don't know, but maybe it's good or bad, but you know radio kind of gets left in the dark a little bit now, I feel like,
Yeah.
maybe. But the people who are listening to the radio still are the ones that, for better or worse, they're the ones that are going to latch on a lot quicker and a lot harder, because they're the few that are really giving you that chance, right? So I don't know. I don't know. Radio is such a weird industry to me, but but I like it.
It is. Yeah, it is. And I really don't know much about it. And I don't know. Yeah, of course, you hear the people all the time, radio's dead. And then you have someone else that's definitely not dead. So, I mean, I don't know what to believe anymore, but I do know, I can say that, like, when we are promoting, singles out to radio or whatever, there is always an influx of people at shows, at the merch booth, whatever, that, it's always, oh, I heard your song on this station, or I'll have people call, family calling me, or friends from wherever calling. So I mean, there's definitely people that still listen, and B, it definitely, I think it has its reach, and it has its purpose. So I still think it's a good thing.
I don't think it's going to go away. Like, radio can't go away. It's such a like part of our culture that it
Yeah,
just
for
can't.
sure. Yeah, I mean, even me, I guess being like younger, because I've heard that too, is that, younger people, they're definitely not listening to the radio. But even me, sometimes I'll get in the truck and I don't feel like checking with Spotify, or I don't feel like having to pick what playlist to listen to or artist or what. So I'll just turn on the radio and see what comes on. So I'm sure that's not everybody, but I mean, I still do it. So
No, I'm sure in an area like you where you have more than one country station on the radio,
mhm.
a little different. Like Jersey,
Yeah,
one country station, and that just opened like
yeah.
the time I've been here, and it's only been 10 years or
I guess I could see that that being a thing. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess, yeah, maybe that's why I really feel the way that I do, is because we really don't have country radio here. We have the Philadelphia channel and the New York City channel. Outside of that, if you're in between, you don't get any of it. So,
Huh.
yeah, yeah, I don't know. It's a weird market. I like it,
Yeah,
but
maybe I'll need to start a radio station.
well, that's how this podcast originally started, was trying to do an independent online radio,
Oh yeah, okay.
and then it was like 2 years before podcast became a thing, and then one day we were like, yeah, we should just do a podcast instead, and
Yeah,
then yeah,
there you go. I mean, podcasts are taking over nowadays too. It's a whole new thing, or newer.
yeah.
But
Uh, so to kind of get off music a little bit, I read on your bio and your website and stuff, that you are an advocate speaker for the Juvenile Diabetes Research Foundation. Can you kind of give us some background on the organization and like the kind of work you do for them, and kind of go tell us a little bit about that?
yeah, we've worked with them just a little bit over the years. and so yeah, I was diagnosed with type 1 diabetes when I was 9 years old. Um, 8 or 9, I never remember, but somewhere a long time ago. And so anyway, so as I, got older, I'd go out and help out. I think I helped out at one of their like walks or runs or something they did one time. And then kind of once I got into the music thing, I'd always said, of course I wanted to use my platform and I say that like I got this huge platform. The platform I do have, um, to help in any way I can. And so obviously that's something that's near and dear to my heart. So yeah, I've just done a few speaking things for them. And then we actually got some of the koozies sitting over there. We did like a little merch line that was kind of, obviously my name and logo, but with the JDRF. Um, and we donated, most of the proceeds back to them. But now we're in talks with them right now, actually, um, about some more speaking opportunities and some of the music side of things that they get involved in. I think they do some golf tournaments where they've talked about maybe us playing or something like that. My management company's been going back and forth with them, I think, in the past couple weeks. So don't exactly know what's going to come out of it, but hopefully some more. But then, yeah, I mean, there's stuff even outside of them, like actually in a couple weeks or something like that, I'm flying to Minnesota. I've never even been to Minnesota, but there's a diabetes camp up there that, has kids ranges from 8 to 18. Um, and so I guess every year they try to have somebody with influence come up and talk to the kids or the campers. And so I'm gonna go do that and kind of talk to them, tell them about my story and play them a few songs. So but yeah, just kind of stuff like that. Again, it just comes down to any way I can help, and especially the younger kids, since it is juvenile diabetes, making sure they understand that, hey, just because you have this disease, it doesn't make any different. Just my thing is learn how to take care of yourself, learn to live with it, and find the positive in it.
No, that's great. We always talk about like keeping a community, and that has become something that has been a bit liquid, right? When we were back in the day before internet, with any of that, your community was basically the street and the town that you lived in. Now communities are that of like, musical communities. You have, the community of service with the diabetes foundation. But I think that being part of that community, being a voice for that community, and you kind of jokingly said, your platform, but a platform nonetheless, and allows you to spread that word, that awareness, and ultimately, that those folks need funding and everything, and that's a
Yeah.
great way to get it out there. And people love music, people love to donate. So
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah, I think to piggyback the platform, I mean, and any cause that you can get one more person on board on, then that's all that, right? It's a snowball. What one person leads to, you don't
Yep.
know what that's going to lead to down the road. And um yeah, that's amazing. And if you need anybody on that golf tournament, let me know. I'm in.
Yeah.
I'll fly anywhere for golf. But
Sounds
but
good. Yeah, I can't remember. I think what is his name? I think Eric Pasley. Do y'all remember him?
oh yeah.
He's actually diabetic, type 1 diabetic. So he's been a pretty good spokesperson for them. We were both, I think it was during COVID because they were having some event and we both had to record a video of us like talking. And they played it at their event. That was like another little thing we did. But I think it's actually, point being, sorry, I think it's actually his golf tournament. So they were talking about having me come in to do something, and I can't remember what it was, but we'll see if anything comes out of it, and then maybe I'll give you a call because
Yeah,
I am
yeah.
no good at golf. I can tell you
Yeah,
that.
I think I'm better than I am, but
Yeah.
but I will always be down for a tournament, a charity event. I'm always in
Yeah.
for that stuff. Um, but yeah, all right, cool. So, we talked on "Keep Me Up" being the most recent single, and we're a few weeks out from that now, and kind of take us through. We're halfway through the year now. What's coming down the line? What's the rest of the year look like for you?
Yeah, so we're just kind of, man, we've been turning and burning, kind of just had our heads down. We've been playing quite a good amount of shows, just kind of all over the place. We've got some out of state stuff coming up. Um, I think next month and through September. So just booking shows, playing shows. I've been in and out of the studio. I just got another handful of songs recorded. Literally just went and did vocals, I guess, last week. So waiting to get the first pass of mixes back. So we're just excited. We're just kind of, doing the damn thing, I guess you could say. And yeah, ready to, we're letting Keep Me Up do its thing, obviously, but just gearing up for what's after that. So we don't know if we've been talking if we want to keep doing the single thing or if we want to try an EP or, we don't really know. So I'd say just everyone be on the lookout because there's definitely new music in the, near future. And yeah, if you're ever in the area, come see a show. And like I said, I know y'all aren't local to Texas. I assume all your listeners are all over the place. So, but we're slowly starting to expand outside of Texas and move up, further north than we'd normally go. So just get on the website and follow our schedule, and hopefully we'll be somewhere near you soon.
Yeah. All right. So speaking of that website, go ahead and let the listeners know where they can find you, website, online, social medias, all that good stuff.
Yeah. Easiest thing to do is probably, the website, which is just haydenhaddock.com. That has links to all the social media, which it's all Hayden Haddock Music, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, the whole thing. And then, yeah, go follow us on Bands in Town to follow the schedule. It's probably the best thing. And that should have everything you're looking for, I think.
Cool. Yeah. Well, Hayden, it was a pleasure chatting with you. And if Keep Me Up and Front Porch in the Rain, if those last two releases are anything telling of the future, I can't wait for the new music to start coming out, and just keep following along with you, man. It's going to be cool.
Yeah, I appreciate you guys having me on. It's been a good time.
All right, so that was our interview with Hayden Haddock, and yeah, Brian, like we said, kind of right up your alley with this Texas country red dirt sound, and yeah, Keep Me Up. We listened to it in the interview, but kind of just keeping true to tradition and what Hayden and you know best.
Yeah, he definitely blends that that really good like mixture of traditional and modern country, while keeping it, the red dirt sound that, myself and many other people that are finding it now are starting to really love. And yeah, Keep Me Up, like I said in the one, it's just a great song. It's super fun. It's a great melody. But for the most part, I'm really excited to see what else he's got coming down the line. And we want to thank him for coming on Outside the Circle. Make sure you go and follow Hayden on all of his social media and music listening platforms. And we'll leave you today with another track from Hayden Haddock, Front Porch in the Rain.
She's a breath of early spring. She's barefoot on the swing. A glass of homemade lemonade on a July morning. I'm the chasing lightning kind, and when I get lost sometimes, she's a soft warm yellow glow shining through the window pane, calling me home. When the sky is falling down and the thunder shakes the ground, she just has a way of making it sound like angels in a choir. She's an easy feeling washing over me, and the peace I find in a world gone insane. She's a front porch in the rain. Life's a long and twisted road, put some miles on your soul. They ask me everywhere I go how I keep from going crazy. It's that fresh cut daisy smile that sends my heart running wild, just like a bunch of fireflies dancing in the dark on a summer night. When the sky is falling She just has a way of making it sound like angels in a choir. She's an easy feeling washing over me, and the peace I find in a world gone insane. She's a front porch in the rain. When the sky is falling down and the thunder shakes the ground, she just has a way of making it sound like angels in a choir. She's an easy feeling washing over me, and the peace I find in a world gone insane. She's a front porch in the rain.